Hello and welcome to Budget with Business Standard. I am Ruchika Chitravanshi. Starting today, over the next few weeks, we will bring to you all the stories related to the budget as the day comes closer and closer. We have with us today my colleagues, Ms. Nivedita Mukherjee, our executive editor, and Mr. Suveen Sinha, our chief content editor.
Hi.
So let us cut to the chase and first of all set context to this budget, which is going to be very different from all the budgets we've had in this government's, Modi government's tenure so far. Nivedita, how is this budget going to be different? Because we have a coalition government. What will be some of the compulsions of a coalition government and the pressures on finance ministry in this budget?
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be a very new kind of an experience for the Narendra Modi government. A coalition is something that this government has not seen, especially Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Never ever has he seen this kind of a coalition setup. So new reality for him and his team. But how far this coalition will really reflect in the budget, I'm not so sure. Apart from the package that is being prepared for Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. And Suveen, we carried this story
Yes,
also.
in fact, we have it in today's paper on the Take Two page about whether Andhra and Bihar have the economic conditions to make a good case for a special package.
Absolutely. But apart from that, and we don't even know yet whether that will be part of the budget or not.
But let me tell you, because we've been interacting with people who are coming to the finance ministry, and so far the signals not very positive, but that's from the bureaucracy. Mm-hmm. But there is a lot more to a budget. There's a whole political angle and all to it. So that's something that everybody is very keenly watching, which brings me to the other point. The confidence and the aggression with which they could move on the reform agenda in these last 10 years. How will that be affected now because of the government, because of the coalition government, and in the budget itself? What kind of reform push are you expecting? If I can just add a little bit, because in the interim budget also, Nivedita, we talked about, the factor market reforms. Narendra Modi talked about it. FM has talked about it. So what do you think?
So let me first say, what I'm trying to do is give ourselves some exit routes. In case what we say today does not turn out to be true, I'm going to defend ourselves in advance.
Suveen is playing it safe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the budget making exercise has started. But a lot has to be squeezed into the period between the formation of the new government and when the budget is actually presented in parliament. So, for example, the finance minister is meeting the trade unions today. She has been meeting other industrialists, economists, etc.
Yeah.
Right. And the first parliament session of the new government also started today, 24th of June. Right. And expectedly, the discussion today is about NEET, and possibly it will go on to the railway safety is what we expect. Then there'll be a recess, then parliament reconvenes, and then budget will come. So a lot might change between now and then, right? However, there is some sense that we are getting some inside stuff and whatever reporters such as you get from the ground. But before I go on to that, let's hear Nivedita about what is the broad thrust that this budget is likely to have.
Yeah, so Suveen and Ruchika, I will just go back to the previous question that Ruchika had raised on coalition and consensus. Actually, if you look at what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said today at the beginning of the parliament session, he again referred to consensus, yes, which he did after the election result. That is important, though he raised some other points
also.
Like
emergency
and hitting out at the opposition.
But he said one interesting thing, that in the third term, the government will work 3 times harder to deliver 3 times more of results.
Absolutely.
There is one reform area where the government, the finance ministry is working on, and that is drafting the conditions that will be now laid on states for loans, which was, if you remember, it was announced in interim budget, 75,000 crore of conditional loans to the states, because state reform is also that will be a big thrust, and budget might push that reform agenda as well.
Actually, I have a broader point to make on reform.
Yes.
I feel that in this budget, government will not really go out and push for big bang reform.
Yes.
There's a reason for that, they have other things to settle.
Yes.
They have to put their house in order.
Yes.
There is so much happening. It's extraordinary situation, actually,
Yes. Yes.
this mess around NEET, where, one of your allies
Yes.
is kind of,
I know.
he has to
My
answer.
state.
Yes,
Bihar,
Nitish
yeah.
Kumar has to answer there,
Yes.
So is he in a position to demand anything
Yes.
in the budget?
Yes.
I don't think so. But I think more than reform, there will be lots of reviews.
Yes.
And reform will take time, and that can be kept for
Yes.
later.
Yes. Sorry, Ruchika, I am usurping your function for just a little bit.
Okay.
While Nivedita made the broader point, I want to make a narrower point, right? Which is that the government may have picked up some signals from the election outcomes where the middle class is believed to have made itself heard.
Yes.
The other thing is that Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, she said at a public forum that she chose not to contest Lok Sabha elections because she did
Doesn't
not have
money.
that kind of money,
That kind of.
right? Now, she sounded very middle class, like you and me, right? Now, we have to see whether the budget will have something for the middle class, mainly the salaried people, in terms of tax cuts. We do get the sense from the ground, and we did report it in our paper, that there could be some realignment of the new tax regime. I don't think anyone is going to touch the old one, which is anyway riddled with exemptions. But in the new one, some change of rates, change of slabs, maybe give some tax breaks where people will be spurred on to consume more, because we are a consumption driven economy.
Yeah, one of the suggestions that came to the FM in the economist meeting was, that the budget has to boost consumption, it has to boost
Yes.
demand.
Yes.
And on the tax structure, there is a suggestion that, you need to either rationalize the tax rates, tax slabs in the new
Yes.
tax regime, or index these to inflation. But
Right.
coming back to the point that Nivedita said, that more than reforms, there will be a lot of review. And Business Standard's front page lead story today.
PLI?
Yeah, by Shreya Jain, Shreya Nandi.
You can hold it
Yeah.
out for
Okay,
the
Yes.
viewers.
For those, is about PLI review committee
Yes.
suggestions, and which also lines up well with what the suggestions that FM has talked about, which Suveen had referred to earlier. That
Yes.
PLI scheme could be an instrument to increase jobs and bring PLI for SMEs, widen the scope of the PLI scheme.
Yes.
So, what do you think? Any of you who wants to take this question as to what
You go,
kind of,
Nivedita.
what kind of other reviews also that you're expecting?
So, review is one point, of course. But, if you look at what agriculture scientist Ashok Gulati has told us in an interview to Business Standard, which is running on our website today.
As the special budget watch series.
As a special budget watch series, and which will be in our newspaper tomorrow, hopefully. And, we'll let Sanjeev Mukherjee, our in-house specialist on agriculture, to talk about it later. But some of the key points from Ashok Gulati's interview, he actually talks about what budget can bring to the agriculture sector to relieve the stress in the rural and agriculture economy. So it is something that is, Suveen, that you mentioned, that
Yes.
is flowing from the election result time.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
all of us, we went out to do election reporting. We
Yes.
collected from the ground that people are, facing so much distress.
Yes.
They spoke about joblessness. They spoke about high prices of, food prices. And such issues. So Ashok Gulati is giving like blow by blow account of, what the budget can bring. And another thought I had was from what Mohan Bhagwat of RSS has said in another newspaper. He wrote a piece in the weekend, and he spoke about skill upgradation and how new jobs can be created. So those are pointers, of what the budget can do probably.
One of the things, because you also mentioned during elections, we saw the kind of demand that people had about jobs, etc. And so this time the government is lucky because it has got enough elbow room because of the RBI dividend to manage its fiscal glide path, to stick to the 5.1 fiscal deficit
Yes.
target. In fact, we've also reported that government is so far from what the discussions are. Let me also play it safe.
Yes,
far
so
what
far.
the discussions are, it seems like they want to maintain
Yes.
to 5.1 target.
Yes.
But that RBI dividend, how do you think government should use it then if it sticks to this path?
Yeah, whichever way they use it, I think the one thing, jobs, which has been staring us in the face since time immemorial, there should be some way to address that. As we report in our paper today, and they are jobs and they are jobs. It's not just about white collar jobs and IT jobs and manufacturing jobs. In manufacturing also, there is organized and unorganized. As we report, in the unorganized manufacturing sector, there have been huge job losses. And in our country, in our economy, it's a critical part,
No, but what
unorganized.
can budget do for jobs directly? It can't do much for jobs. So
I think taking off from where Suveen left and what can the budget do, I think the thrust of the budget, I again come to the broader point, we don't know what the budget makers are actually doing to create jobs.
Yes.
They should come out with solutions,
Yes.
but I think the thrust will be on life and livelihood this time.
That is one. And one is to create jobs, the other is to create demand. Demand increases so that companies are spurred on to produce more. To produce more, they need more people.
Which
so
also companies are to encourage companies. CapEx push also has
CapEx
to
push
continue,
has to
and it has
continue.
to crowd in private sector investment,
Yes.
which we've been talking about.
But
for the past
Ruchika,
several budgets.
yes, we have been talking about CapEx push. In fact, the CI president also said that it should be 25% increase in CapEx. But the same interactions that the FM has been having with economists, with industrialists, when they talk about cutting taxes, putting more disposable income in the hands of people, CapEx push, they also in the same breath say fiscal discipline.
Yeah, they have
Fiscal
to manage
glide path.
fiscal discipline. Yes, of course.
I mean, I don't want to be in Mrs. Sitharaman's shoes. I mean, how does one balance the two things?
But the good thing is, Suveen, that Nirmala Sitharaman is in a happy place in some ways. She continues with her A team.
Yes.
All the bureaucrats are the same.
Yes.
So there will be continuity will continue.
Will continue.
Will continue. And fiscal continuity is also going to be adhered to. Is the sense that we are also getting from the ground. You know how we are reporting.
Yes. And I did not address the point that you raised, the RBI dividend. Right?
Yeah.
2.1 trillion is the figure, right? I mean, that's like the gift from gods. Okay. I mean, it's not a piffling amount, 2.1 trillion. I'm sure it'll be put to good use. And fiscal discipline then comes in there also.
In fact, one of the suggestions that has come to FM for that RBI dividend is to earmark some portion of it towards a CapEx fund. And you keep refreshing that CapEx fund. That's an interesting suggestion. Obviously, how much is the government listening to the suggestions and taking from them only when the budget comes.
And what happens if next year the RBI dividend is less?
Yeah.
Then you have given a capex push from this year's dividend. What do you do next year?
Yeah, because RBI dividend is this is a bumper. It's not going to happen every year. We don't have enough time now. I'm sure we can go on and on.
But on the whole, don't you think the stage is kind of set? We know the signals from the GST Council meeting is also that it's a feel good thing. Do things for the masses, make them feel happy. The smallest things that they have done.
I think the strongest thing we get is that they are listening.
Yes. Okay. I'll cut you on that, Suveen. That's a very good thing to say, that they're listening. They have to listen now.
Not to say that they were not listening earlier, but now they are addressing specific concerns.
To our viewers also, I would say that you keep listening in, and we'll be bringing you all these great insights with more of our in-house experts who are reporters who have ears to the ground to bring you the news for the next few days, for the next few weeks, in fact. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching today's show.
Thank you.